Let's take a moment and learn how to set up the subwoofer on Pioneer's DEH-X6800BT. Before we get started with changing our subwoofer settings, let's check a couple of settings on the head unit to make sure that we have a subwoofer output we can control. So we're on the AM/FM radio source right now, but I want to turn the head unit off. So press and hold the source button for a couple of seconds. Now the head unit is switched off. Even though I still have the clock on the screen, that's okay. I'll press in on the volume control, and I want to get to the initial menu. Here's System, and that's the one we want, Initial. So press Enter there. Here, we're going to roll along until we see Speaker and Pre-Out mode. There we go, Speaker and Pre-Out mode. Now we have 4 speaker outputs, 2 for the front, 2 for the rear, and 2 RCA outputs, front and rear or front and subwoofer output. So let's make an adjustment there. We'll press Enter here. This tells me that my rear speaker outputs are set to full range output and my rear RCA is set to subwoofer output. That would work for subwoofer control. Roll over to the next setting. This changes my rear speaker output to subwoofer output, and I keep my rear RCA output as subwoofer output. This would also give me subwoofer control. And I can roll over to the next setting, which is rear speaker output is set to full range and rear RCA output is set to full range. Now if you choose this setting, there will be no subwoofer control in the audio menu. So if you have rear for the speaker output and rear for the RCA output, that's full range for both speakers and RCA, you'll have no subwoofer control in the audio system. So let's roll over to the next setting, which is full range for the rear speaker outputs and subwoofer output for the rear RCAs. Once you've made those adjustments, you can just touch the source button. We'll go out to the radio source or any source, and we'll press in on the volume control, and now we want to go to the audio menu. Okay, there's the audio menu, and press Enter. Now let's roll along here until we get to the subwoofer settings. Here's the first subwoofer setting. Right now our subwoofer output is switched off. If we press in on the volume control, we can switch the subwoofer output on and in its normal phase. Touch it one more time. Subwoofer output on is on and in its reverse phase. And touch it one more time and the subwoofer output is again switched off. So go to your vehicle and test which is better for you, the normal phase or the reverse phase. Once you've chosen the best one there, we can go back and roll over to the next setting, which is our subwoofer control. Press Enter. And here we can choose a crossover point for our subwoofer. Here we're going to choose a crossover point of 63 hertz for the subwoofer, and we'll press in on the volume control, and we can choose to boost or to cut that output at the chosen crossover point of 63 hertz. We'll boost that up by a little. Press in on the volume control, and we can choose to change the slope of the crossover from 12 to 24 dB per octave at the chosen crossover point of 63 hertz. Once you're done making those adjustments, you can go back and roll over to the next setting, which is the bass boost, and press in on the volume control there. Here we can add a little more bottom into the system if we want, up to a +6, or we can roll it back down to 0. Once you've made those adjustments, you can go back, and remember, you can exit this menu or any menu by pressing the band button to escape.